What's going on, guys? It's Luke here. Going to run through these trade recaps today. We took 3 trades today. We ended up taking 1 loss on NQ, then we took a win on NQ, and we took a win on ES. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible just so we could get through this video to get through these 3 trades. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. So starting on the higher time frame, let's pull the candles back to here. This is what price was looking like at the beginning of the day. We had news, I think at 8:15, we had unemployment claims. So we ended up making this news high and this news low. In the pre-market, we ended up sweeping out these lows. And, we just had this big whipsaw candle. So for draws on liquidity, I had marked out the news high. We had this news low. We had these hourly lows. And then we had these imbalances on the 4-hour. And this here was the start of the daily fair value gap. So another thing to note was that ES had already filled this daily fair value gap. And NQ hadn't. So that's one thing I was trying to keep in the back of my mind. So I personally had a bearish bias and I wanted to see price flood down and take out all of this low resistance sell side liquidity and then come down maybe to fill these imbalances. So that's what I was thinking. So anyway, like I said, in the pre-market, we had that big sweep on liquidity, up and down, whatever. And then personally for me, I seen that the 9 a.m. candle closed strong bearish, and I wanted to see a continuation lower to take out, again, this low resistance sell side liquidity. At this same time, ES had already came down and filled in the 4-hour imbalance. So I wanted to see NQ kind of follow. That was my plan of action for this first trade, right? So I seen that the 15-minute was pushing heavily bearish, and obviously when we sweep out liquidity, we're usually looking for kind of a reversal, sweep liquidity, and then we look for that reversal. But I just seen that order flow was continuing bearish. And what I seen was that the 5-minute ran through this bullish fair value gap, retested it. Order flow was bearish. And for me, I'm just looking for continuations down because my overall draws were to take out this sell side, and ultimately just fill in that daily FVG that ES already did. And I felt like ES could continue to fall down to that next imbalance. So 5-minute order flow was bearish, 15 was bearish. And personally, I just entered right here on this break of structure, which was at, let me check, 9:57 candle. So that was my entry. I put my stops above that 1-minute FEG. Order flow on the 1-minute was bearish. I was targeting the start of that the previous day low, which was also the start of that daily FVG. And then these 4-hour FVGs, I was going to move my stops to break even. And we didn't really get too much in profit. We ended up coming back down here, and then price ended up coming up and stopping us out there. And for most of the day, I had a bullish bias from there. But then we went to ES, and we ended up catching along. And this is why. So if we look here, ES was continuing to respect this 4-hour FVG. So if we go back to the 4-hour, ES was respecting it. And personally, for me at this point, I was thinking that ES was going to come up and take out the news high. And then if we look at NQ on that 9 or 10 a.m. candle, NQ had swept out the hourly low and it was pushing up heavy. And I figured that NQ was going to head towards that news high and ES was probably going to do the same thing. So I ended up scaling down on ES just because ES was lagging behind a little bit more, but I wanted strong confirmation. So finally, the reason I didn't enter this earlier was because we were struggling to invalidate this 15-minute bearish fair value gap right here. But then I finally ended up getting an entry. I think it was right around here. So we had the 5-minute break of structure, then we retraced and we're just trending bullish. At the same time, if you look at NQ was ripping up much higher and it was super close to taking out that draw. So I figured that we could at least catch some points to the upside and catch, a small move. So on the 1-minute, we ended up seeing this play out here. We ended up seeing the 1-minute respecting this bullish fair value gap right here. We ended up entering right here off of this break of structure, stops below the 1-minute wick. I took take profit 1 at this 1-minute high right here. Take profit 2 was at this 1-minute high right here. And my ultimate take profit was at the news high, which gave about 3.7 R. And unfortunately, we didn't end up taking that out. The rest got stopped out break even. So we ended up taking 2 take profits. So on total on this trade, we made about 2.42 R. So we pretty much made back a little more than the loss we had from the NQ trade. So not too bad here. Unfortunately, didn't get to capitalize the whole move. But if you notice that ES didn't take out the news high, but NQ ended up coming up and taking out that news high right here. So this is where I decided to look again. And normally I don't like trading again this late. This trade was around like 12 or something. But I seen all of this sell side liquidity. I seen this drawdown here, and I still seen that NQ hadn't filled that daily FVG and the previous day low, which ES already had. So I just thought like it has to come down. You know what I mean? So once I started to see a shift on the 15-minute is where I started to look for shorts. And this is the exact point right here. So on the 15, we had a break of structure, and I was just waiting for a 5-minute order flow shift and a continuation confluence in order for me to short. And again, my ultimate targets were those higher time frame sell side draws. So on the 5-minute, we end up pushing into this 5-minute FVG and respecting it right here and getting a nice rejection. Then I scaled to the 1-minute, and I just waited for the 1-minute to invalidate this FVG right here. We closed below this 1-minute FVG. This was my entry. I put my stops all the way up here because this would be the 15-minute inverse fair value gap. So if price wanted to come back up into that inverse on the 15, we'd be safe on that. And I'm targeting, keep in mind, a bigger move here. I want to see price come down, and I want to see price take out this hourly low, and my main draw on liquidity is again that previous day low and the daily fair value gap. So the start of that fair value gap right here where I have it marked out. So we ended up entering that trade like 12:30, and then it finally ended up hitting full take profit around 2:15. I took some profits along the way at these hourly draws. But yeah, super great trade. Total trade on this one was 3.81R. So again, took the small loss on the first NQ trade, which was a 2.31 total R, but didn't get in profit early at all. This one ended up taking us out. The big NQ win here gave us 3.81R, and the ES long, we didn't catch the full move, but we ended up catching just about 2.45R. So that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys caught some wins today, or hopefully you guys didn't lose or anything, because, you know, we had pretty crazy market conditions today. That's going to wrap it up for me, though. We've got NFP tomorrow, so we'll see what happens with the market tomorrow. I'll be willing to trade, but probably just going to de-risk. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until the next one, give me a like, subscribe, comment on the video, follow me on Twitter. The link in the description if you guys want to support the channel. Until the next video, I'll see you guys then. Peace.